If you lost power tonight, really lost it, how long would you last? And I don't mean Wi-Fi dropped and Tesco shut early. I mean no power anywhere on your street. No street lights, no heating, petrol pumps dead, card machines dead, water pressure dying. Your phone has 1 bar, then nothing, total silence. You walk outside, there's no traffic noise, no glow in the sky, just dark. That's not a movie, that's called grid down, and here's the bit most people don't get. A lot of people in Britain wouldn't last 3 days, not because they're soft, because our whole life runs on invisible systems that we only notice when they're gone. Water treatment, sewage pumps, cold chain food delivery, heating. You kill the grid, you kill all of that. This video is about how to survive the first 7 days of total blackout in the UK. Day 1 through day 7, what to actually do, what not to do, water, heat, toilets, food, security, mindset. Not fantasy American prepper ranch stuff, realistic UK reality stuff. Watch this all the way through because the real danger isn't what you think it is. People think, oh, it's the dark. It's not the dark, it's dehydration, infection, hypothermia, panic, and eventually other people. Welcome to Charlie Survival. I need 2 things from you straight away, and do them now because it genuinely helps. First, subscribe to the channel. This channel is about staying alive in the UK when things go weird. Blackouts, cold, supply chains, whatever. If you like being the calm person in the room, hit subscribe so this stuff is in your head before you need it. Second, comment down below and answer this honestly. How many days of food do you have in your home right now? It's sometimes far less than you think. That does 2 things. It feeds the video into the algorithm so more UK people see it, and it quietly tells you where you actually are, not where you imagine you are. Alright, let's walk through your first 7 days. Day 1, calm people live longer. Day 1 decides everything. If you get day 1 right, day 3 is uncomfortable. If you get day 1 wrong, day 3 is dangerous. You have 3 priorities on day 1. Water, food, light discipline. Let's start with water. The moment you realize this isn't just my fuse box, you start storing water immediately. Why? Because UK taps rely on pumps. Pumps run on electricity. Once the backup system drains, pressure dies. Once pressure dies, your tap is just a metal stick. So you fill absolutely everything you can with tap water while it's still clean and flowing. Kettle, pans, tubs, bottles, mixing bowls, the bath, buckets, clean bin with a liner, anything that holds liquid and has even a vague lid. This is now your personal reservoir. And from this point on, assume any new water needs boiling before you drink it. Why? Because after a day or so of no flow, water sitting in pipes can get contaminated. You really do not want stomach problems in a blackout. Next, food. Most people panic and go straight into rationing mode. That sounds smart, it isn't. Here's the real move. On day 1, you eat the stuff that's going off. Fridge, freezer, leftovers, meat, milk, eggs, anything that will spoil without power. You cook it now while it's still safe. Cook it on a gas hob if yours still ignites. Camp stove, barbecue, fire pit, whatever you've got. You're not doing fine dining, you're converting food that will rot tomorrow into cooked calories you can eat tomorrow or the next day. Then you protect your boring food. Tins, pasta, rice, beans, oats. That's not day 1 food, that's day 4 food. So think of it like this, fresh first, shelf stable later. Last part of day 1, light discipline. In a full blackout, light is a signal. Picture this, the whole street is pitch black. Your upstairs bedroom is glowing warm yellow because you've got 7 candles on and a lantern in the window. What message does that send to people walking past? It says, we're doing alright in here. That's not what you want. So after dark, you block windows with blankets or bin bags. You keep light low and central, not blasting out through gaps. You keep noise down, no music, no shouting in the garden about your stash. In a blackout, the loud, bright house is the target. You want to look boring. That's day 1. Store water, cook perishables, go dim, go quiet. If you do nothing else, do that. If you do want to take things to the next level, head over to the Charlie Survival Amazon kit list in the description solution for real UK civilian preparedness survival items that actually work for our tiny little island. Day 2 to 3, heat, toilets, water. Now it gets real. By day 2, you'll notice your phone is basically dead, your house is getting cold, your toilet isn't doing its job, and your beautiful, neat plan is starting to feel a bit less cute. Here's what has to happen on day 2 and day 3. You control heat, you control human waste, you control water again. Let's start with heat. If it's the winter in the UK and the grid is down, your house becomes a fridge frighteningly fast. So here's the trick. You do not heat the whole house, you shrink your world. Pick the smallest room you can live in, a box room, a small bedroom, even understairs space in an emergency, and that becomes the warm room. Close every other door in the house. Block drafts under those doors with towels or clothes. Hang duvets, blankets, or even bin liners over windows in your warm room to slow heat loss. You're creating one small bubble where body heat actually matters. Sleep in that room. Spend most of your time in that room. Everyone piles into that room at night. If you're using a flame for warmth like tea lights under a terracotta pot, camping stove, whatever, you must crack ventilation. Carbon monoxide will kill you quietly. You need fresh air in, stale air out. You're balancing don't freeze with don't die in your sleep. This part is grim, but it's the difference between uncomfortable and everyone ill by day 4. No running water means no flushing. No flushing means bacteria. Bacteria means sickness. Sickness means dehydration. Dehydration means danger. If you've got a garden, you dig a latrine, at least 60 centimeters deep, well away from water collection. Do your business, cover with soil after every use, not end of day. If you're in a flat and you can't dig, line a bucket or small bin with a heavy bin bag. Use it, tie it off, move it outside, away from living space. Is it gross? Yes. Is it better than leaving raw sewage in a warm, unventilated flat? Way better. And wash your hands after, every single time, soap and hot water if you've got it. If you don't, even washing with clean water is better than nothing. You can also scrub with a bit of ash from burned wood. It helps break down oils and bacteria on the skin. Not perfect, but better than nothing. Now, water again. That water you stored on day 1, you're already realizing it's going fast. You use water for drinking, cooking, washing hands, cleaning pans, and just existing. So now you switch from stored water to produced water. Your main sources: rain collection, surface water, rain. Lay out bin bags, tarps, anything waterproof. Angle them so the water runs into a clean container. Then filter and boil before drinking. No rain, you're looking at puddles, streams, standing water. Treat everything as contaminated. Filter through cloth to get grit and muck out. Then put it through a gravity filter that removes parasites, bacteria, germs. Then boil it hard. Let it cool with a lid so nothing drops in. Do not trust clear water. Trust boiled and filtered water. Day 2 and 3 are basically this. Get warm in one room, stay off the cold floor, have a toilet system, start gathering clean water. If you're still healthy and thinking straight by the end of day 3, you're already beating most people. But day 4 changes the game. Day 4 to 5, humans are now the problem. By day 4 and day 5, the mood outside shifts. Shops are empty, petrol's gone. You're hearing rumours. Some streets are starting to work together. Others are getting sketchy. This is when you stop worrying about comfort and start worrying about people. 2 priorities now: security, information. Let's talk security first. In the UK, we're not walking around with rifles. That's not how we live. So security here is not be tough. Security is don't look worth looting. I know that sounds harsh, but it's true. You don't want to be the well-stocked house. That means keep windows covered at night so you're not glowing. Keep your warm room heat and light contained. When you cook, keep smells as contained as you can. Smell travels. Hungry people follow smell. Don't leave visible stacks of bottled water or tins in the window when other people are walking past and can see them. You want your place to look dark, quiet, boring. Inside, you need early warning because you're tired now. Set noise traps, tin cans or string across a back gate. Crunchy gravel under a window. Something leaning against a door that will clatter if it opens. Nothing illegal, nothing that hurts anyone, just something that wakes you up before someone is inside your personal space. If you're not alone, sleep in shifts. 2 hours on, 2 hours off. You're exhausted by now, but being surprised in the middle of the night is worse. Now, information. information. By this point your phone is either dead or useless. Even if you've saved the battery, you've likely got no signal. So your link to the outside world is now radio. A small battery powered AM or FM radio or a hand crank radio becomes insanely valuable in a blackout. You can still get emergency broadcast, boil water notices, evac instructions, warnings, stay inside, avoid this area, that kind of thing. That's not prepper fantasy gear, that's do I sit tight or am I about to be evacuated and I didn't know. Also mentally this matters. Having a voice on the radio proves that the world still exists. That prevents hopelessness. Hopeless people start doing stupid things. Last tip here, start a log. Literally write down, day 4, still no mains power, still got water, Sarah coughing, radio says stay put, heard shouting at 2 AM outside co-op. Why? Because your memory under stress is trash. Writing it down keeps you organised, keeps arguments down and lets you spot problems early. That's day 4 and 5. Don't look valuable, stay boring, collect information, keep calm. Day 6 to 7, mindset keeps you alive. If you're still here by day 6, you're dealing with this. You're underfed, you're cold, you're tired, your patience with other humans is gone. Everyone's a bit mentally frayed. This is where people mentally give up. They stop boiling water because I can't be bothered. They stop washing their hands. They stop eating properly. They just sit there and wait. That is how people who made it to day 6 don't make it to 8. So the last phase is about 2 things, routine and hope. Let's start with routine. Routine sounds stupid in a collapse. It's not stupid, it's survival. Set a wake up time. Set a collect water and check water time. Set a heat and block drafts time. Set a radio check time. Set a cook and eat time. Set a sleep time. Why? Because your brain wants to drift into panic or numbness. Routine stops drift. Routine keeps you acting like a human being, not a scared animal. Also, give everyone a job. Your water, your radio and notes, your sealing drafts and sorting warmth. Giving people roles stops them spiraling. Now hope, not fake motivational, we've got this guy's nonsense, practical hope. Here's the mindset you want. Power might come back on in an hour, but I'm prepared if it doesn't. That means keep rationing, don't binge because it's nearly over. Keep collecting in boiling water. Keep that warm room sealed and ventilated. Keep your notes, keep communication calm. Keep checking on anyone vulnerable, kids, elderly, someone anxious, someone with asthma. The weakest person in the group becomes the group's priority because one uncontrolled asthma attack, one infection, one panic run out the door at 3 AM can undo 6 days of doing everything right. You protect your weak link, you protect everyone. If you found this useful, hit the like button and subscribe so you're ahead of 90% of the UK. Comment your most trusted bit of kit, I want to see what you're actually running. And gear up smart, check out the Charlie Survival Amazon kit list. It's gear I've actually tested and have pit through real conditions. You can find the Amazon link in the description. To learn all about how to survive in freezing conditions, click this video on screen now. Stay wild, stay free, and I'll see you over there.